Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Bookish Hottie YouTube channel. I am your host, Nakara Campbell, and I am so glad you're tuning in today. So, first, thank you for everyone who came out to Pages in the Park with me and Bookish and Baked Book Club because it was amazing. You guys showed up and showed out, and I loved it. So the next one will be July 26th, and we have some other fun things planned for you guys. We're going to be moving it inside in the fall. We also will be doing some other cool things that I can't say about, but definitely subscribe to both. I think, let me ask Brie. I don't know if she has a Substack, but definitely subscribe to my Substack as well as um but make it book Substack called Shelf Care. Definitely go ahead and subscribe and you'll find out everything from there. Also, you can see everything on our website, bookishlyhealed.com. So, what you really came for, what you really came for. Also, real quick before I start, if you are watching Love Island, you need to go ahead and do that. Like, it's a staple in this household. So you got to go ahead and read and watch Love Island. I am going to highlight a book that I read. Oh, I believe this was during the pandemic, but it really touched my spirit. And it's Honor by Thrity Umrigar. I believe I said that right. And I definitely looked it up so I can say it right. But I definitely believe that's how you say her name. And it is a really touching book. If obviously it's a Reese book club pick. In January 2022, I read this and then I read Bandit Queens and right after, or Bandit Queens first and then Honor. Regardless, I really enjoyed this book. This book follows an Indian American journalist who comes back to India. She hasn't been back there since she was a child, and she's investigating a murder, which was an honor killing. And it was a case that follows a Hindu woman who was attacked by members of her own village for for marrying a Muslim man. And as you're going through all of this, um, you're going through Mina's journey and how she was attacked and what's going on with her daughter and how her husband got killed. Actually, no, Mina wasn't killed. Her husband was killed. Sorry. And going through also discovering secrets that the journalist is also going through in her life, and why her and her family had to leave abruptly from India, and what that meant for her and her family, dealing with like religion, family structure, how a woman should show up. It's is a host of all those different things tangled up, and I think that it tells a story about hope, familial devotion, as well as like these two women going on these journeys that are really similar at first. Well, really different, it would seem from the offset at first, but then become really similar as you go through. And it's just, you're following this trial and you're going through these court scenes and you're trying to decide or like empathize too, like who's right, who's wrong, and who has the say of like who follows these religious standards and how women should be and act and all those different types of theories in our head of like definitely taking out your American consciousness. If you're American, obviously watching this, but if you're not, you know how we be. And just taking out what we think about who gets to who gets to be honored and what is honor. It's really deep, really great. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I highly suggest picking it up. If you you know what? Let me see how many pages is it. It was a quick read for me because I was like in it. Um I believe it was 322 pages, even though it doesn't look it. It's pretty hefty, but I was reading it so fast because it was that good to me. And I will say it is intense. It does deal with murder and religious persecution. So those are my trigger warnings. But if you love a good, just like finding unburied truths within oneself, and also just going more and more about empathy and acceptance and love, this is definitely a pickup. Like I stand. So definitely pick that one up. And so that's my little review. I would say I think I gave this book, you know, black people. I don't even remember. Let me see. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't really remember what I'd be doing. But I definitely think it was like four stars. I believe it was. Yeah, 4 stars. That was a 4-star read for me. Um, and it just has a lot of like the balancing of who's right, who's wrong, like I said before. And it also challenged me in a way. And like I said before, my American sensibilities, I was just like, this is really happening to this lady. And not only to Mina, but also like the journalist and how she's going through her life, and like when you find out about her family. And I was not expecting that. And it's just a lot of twists and turns, and a lot of empathy and sympathy, compassion, and also taking myself out of it a lot of the time, which I love about reading. Which me and Lakia talked about on the podcast episode over at dot 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 but make it books. Just healing of self in empathy throughout the pages, and women's agency and rights, and who gets to decide that, right? And it was just like a lot for me to reconcile and accept. But I also took myself out of my very American sensibilities, and like how I think about rights and everything like that. And I mean, honestly, people watching this probably like, you black in America, what rights you got? And honestly, fair. Um, but I think that 30 does a really good job of navigating uh and also bringing us into the story without having to um explain so much. Like, you felt like you were a part of the story and a part of the culture, and you understood it. Even if you really yourself could not understand, you also still understood how the characters in these positions in a real part of the world and globe function. And this is how functionality works, and all those other things. It was just a really, really good read, and it broke my heart a- in a bunch of different ways. Made me cry, made me think. Again, I would say like definitely pick this up. This was such a good book, and I know I said that like 5 times. Um, and just like the sense of like belonging. I think that's the other one of my notes. It's just like the sense of belonging, who gets to belong, who gets to be recognized by, dealing with class and caste and gender, and like who gets to have a say, and like how we separate ourselves within a class, and then how we separate ourselves within a caste, and then on top of that adding gender. Chef's kiss. Like, whew, this book. So definitely pick it up. Highly recommend. And I will see y'all next time. Peace. Bye.